We all know that Trae Young struggled at the beginning of the summer league and also the start of the regular season, which led a lot of people to believe what they believed in. We had guys like Bill Simmons saying that after the trade for Trae Young and Luka Doncic in the NBA draft, he was saying that it was one of the worst trades in NBA's century. And to me, when you look at that and you really think about it, is it really the dumbest trade in NBA century? I want Bill Simmons to go back and look at that clip and look at himself and say, that was probably the dumbest take I think I've ever had, because it is the dumbest take. The fact that you think that it was the worst trade in NBA century. No, there's been more worse trades. One trade I can think in particular, and it happened this season, is trading Zubac for Mike Muscala. Like, that one to me is one of the worst trades in NBA century, and that's even just a recent one, and that's probably not even the worst trade in NBA century. But to me, that is a dumber trade than what Bill Simmons had to say. And then you had guys like Skip Bayless talk about that he would rather have Donte DiVincenzo, who's a nice role player for the Milwaukee Bucks, but is not a caliber of Trae Young, saying that he would rather have Donte DiVincenzo over Trae Young. I mean, come on, man. You would rather have a guy that's a nice role player for the Milwaukee Bucks than a guy that can do his thing? Is the reason why on this channel I claim that Trae Young, that is, will be better than Steph Curry. And I know a lot of people look at that statement and think, that's ridiculous. How can he be better than Steph Curry? But the reason why is because not only is his scoring ability the most amazing thing about Trae Young, it's the fact that he has a better passing vision and a better passing asset in terms of how he's able to pass the rock than Steph Curry. I mean, you see when he passes it to John Collins, when he passes it to Dwayne Dedmon, Alex Len, Vince Carter, Taurean Prince, all his role players that's around him, Kevin Huerter. He is doing his thing, and he makes these passes look so easy. I mean, that's the reason why Collins' stats right now are even higher than they were his rookie year. And I know it's because, you know, he's taking that second-year leap. But that to me is the reason why I think that Trae Young is going to fit so well in Atlanta. And it's the reason why I think that Trae Young officially, after last night going 33 points, 32 or 33 points with 12 assists, has officially, and this is, you know, this was even before, but he's officially made his case for Rookie of the Year. I know that a lot of Luka fans, and you know on this channel, I'm a Luka fan, my boy Pete's a Luka fan. This channel is a Luka lover channel. But at the same time, when you look at everything, Trae Young is also doing this thing as well, and it's kind of the reason why I think we might have the second or however many times it's been where it's going to be a co-rookie of the year. I'm sorry, like, I know that it's a lot of things to handle. I know a lot of people are going to be like, wow, you're just riding the Trae Young, you're being a Trae Young stan. No, Trae Young has been doing his thing. Let's look at the stats between Trae Young and let's make a case for each guy. So when we make a case for Doncic, this is for the whole season so far. You know, he's averaging 21 points a game to 18.7 for Trae Young. He has more rebounds, of course, at 7.6 to 3.6 for Trae Young, and steals 1.1 to 0.8. We know that Trae Young is not going to get the rebounds. That's not his goal. That's not his thing because he's a point guard. I understand that Steph Curry gets rebounds as well, but Trae Young's ability and his vision is not, and the fact that his gameplay is not surrounded by how many rebounds he gets. It's about his assists, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We know that Luka Doncic also has a higher field goal percentage at 42.6 compared to 41.7. I mean, that to me is about equal value. And then, of course, you know Doncic has a better PER. But when we look at Trae Young's stats and the case for Trae Young, we see that Trae Young is averaging 7.9 assists to 5.8. We know that this game is all about moving the rock, getting everybody involved, and the fact that you can make it in this league if you don't need the ball always in your hands to make a play. And that's something that Trae Young always likes to do. He makes a play out of nothing, is the reason why, like I said, John Collins is averaging like 19 points a game this NBA season. Like, it is absolutely amazing what he's able to do with all the guys around him. And yes, we know that the Dallas Mavericks, if we look at the NBA standings, are at 29 wins compared to the Hawks, who are at 27. It's about almost equal. And we know the reason why the Mavericks are struggling is the reason why I think the Dallas Mavericks actually cost Luka Doncic the Rookie of the Year race. Because we remember that they had Dennis Smith Jr. and Wesley Matthews, guys that were complementary to Luka Doncic, and Luka Doncic wasn't the main guy. You know, you had Dennis Smith, you had Dirk Nowitzki, who was old, but he still got his minutes, and, you know, he still got the defense's attention, along with a guy like Wesley Matthews as well. But when you traded in for Kristaps Porzingis, who was not even going to reach the court this year, you know that the focus of the defense when you play him next is going to be all on Luka Doncic, and it's the reason why his stats have come down a little bit since the All-Star break. When we look at the All-Star break stats comparison, since the All-Star break, Trae Young, this is where Trae Young, I think, takes it by a storm. Trae Young is averaging 25.3, 4.6 rebounds, 8.8 assists, 0.6 steals on 45% shooting and 40% from three-point and 87% from the free throw line. Compared to Doncic, who's averaging 22.4, 9.2 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 41% shooting and 27% from three-point line, 28% if we want to round up, and of course shooting 65% from the free throw line. That to me is the biggest indicator as to why Trae Young has now made his case, and is the reason why I think there will be a co-rookie of the year, because Trae Young has been doing his thing in Atlanta since the All-Star break. Like I said, we've had a lot of people hating on Trae Young. They're saying that he's a gimmick, that all he can do is just shoot long threes, and even that he's not going in. But the fact that he's able to prove people wrong is the reason why I think Trae Young will work in this league, and it's the reason why I still believe in my heart of heart that Trae Young will be better than Steph Curry. And I know that's going to be blasphemous. I know a lot of people are going to call me crazy for it, but that's the reason why I think Trae Young is going to be better, because his passing vision, like I said, you can score the rock many times. You know, you had famous scorers like Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter back in his day, Kobe Bryant. You had all those guys, but what makes Trae Young different than those guys, and even Steph Curry to some extent, and it's the reason why Steph Curry also excelled as well, is the fact that their passing ability is what's going to get them further along in their career than just shooting a long three. Because once you lose guys around you that can't shoot once you lose guys that can score their own offense, like Kevin Huerter or Taurean Prince, that can really help out Trae Young, if you get a bunch of no-name scrubs, your numbers are going to go down tremendously, especially in shooting percentage. But the fact that Trae Young's passing ability makes him a threat, not only in terms of shooting, but also passing the ball as well to a guy in John Collins, who's a great leaper and a guy that can finish the ball at the rim, then Trae Young, to me, like I said, is going to be co-rookie of the year. And then, like I said, when we look at all the stats, we know that it's almost a tied race, because those guys, and we know how much it means to the Atlanta Hawks for the Dallas Mavericks to do kind of in the middle, because if they don't, the Dallas Mavericks are going to keep their pick. But nevertheless, this is more about Luka Doncic and Trae Young, rookie of the year, who wins it, who doesn't win it. Like I said, I know that everyone wants a winner and a loser, but I think this is a co-year for me, in my opinion. This has been a more co-year than the Donovan Mitchell-Ben Simmons year, because of the fact that Trae Young has been tearing it up lately, is the reason why I think Trae Young will work in this league, and it's the reason why I think Luka Doncic will also work in this league. Once Kristaps Porzingis comes on the floor, it'll make it a lot easier for Luka Doncic to get his points and to get higher shooting percentages. But for now, I think that when we look at everything in perspective, Trae Young, to me, is going to be co-rookie of the year along with Luka Doncic. And that's just my opinion, guys. And the real question I want to ask you guys is, after the second half of the season, looking at everything, do you guys think that the second half of the season should propel Trae Young to the Rookie of the Year winner, or do you think that it should hurt him a little bit because it took him a while? While meanwhile, Luka Doncic has had a hot start, but it looks like he's having a cold finish towards the end. And that's the interesting thing about this whole thing. It's different parallels, right? You know, a guy that had a bad start but is having a great finish. A guy that had a great start but is having kind of a average finish. I mean, they're both had, you know, average beginnings, average ending. I mean, that's the one thing that I want to ask you guys. What do you guys think of this whole situation? Because we know that Trae Young is doing his thing in Atlanta, and the Atlanta Hawks are going to be a scary team next year. And my prediction for them, and this is just not even, we'll talk about this more later, but my prediction is that they're going to make the playoffs next year and going to be the Brooklyn Nets of the Eastern Conference next year. But like I said, guys, let me know what you guys think of this Rookie of the Year race. Do you guys think that Trae Young, after last night's performance, you know, 32, 33 points with 12 assists, is going to be Rookie of the Year, or is going to be co-Rookie of the Year? Or do you think that he's already lost it because Luka Doncic did so much damage in the first half of the season that people are going to remember that and they're going to dub him Rookie of the Year? I want to ask you guys that question as well. But also, who do you guys think will have the better career towards the end? Do you think that Trae Young will have the better career, or do you think that it'll be Luka Doncic? That's another question I want to ask you guys. But anyway, guys, this has been your boy Bernie here on The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And guys, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please hit that subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell, where we talk about guys like Trae Young, like Luka Doncic, like this video, and also we talk about the guys coming up like John Morant and Zion Williamson. If Zion Williamson and Luka Doncic were in the same draft, who would you draft? That's a question in another video. But anyway, guys, like I said, I'll talk to you in the next video. Peace.